Invitation is to take a deep breath in and a slow, mindful, deep breath out. Take a minute and tune in to your breath. And why is this important, you may ask? Because the seat of our power is our breath. So the seat of the power for us being our breath is because the breath is what we call the spark of life. So if you ever see the infinity cycle or symbol, we have the finite element of the infinity symbol and we have the infinite, and that represents and symbolizes who we are. We are an infinite being, soul source being that is in a finite vehicle, which is our body and our personality for the experience of our incarnation. And our breath is the actual link that links and connects us to our infinite self and our finite self. So if you've ever experienced the sacred honor of watching somebody transition through death, then you'll know or have witnessed that when that soul releases and leaves, there's air left in the body, but there's something very tangible, a significant strong presence is released, and that's what the breath basically holds into place. So the breath itself is our link to really getting centered, grounded, connected in our bodies. And it's our link when we want to really connect to our heart and our soul. And to be in our sovereignty, we need to be connected to our heart and our soul. We need to be able to hear what our own personal resonance is. And our resonance is what our soul speak is. Our resonance is what our soul is guiding us in order to guide us to what is in alignment for us personally and uniquely and individually. So when we're slowing down our breath, when we're mindful of our breath, then we can actually not only just ground and kind of recenter and reconnect, it's our actual link to actually getting connected to this soul source within. So when we can practice, and this absolutely is a training, when we can practice taking a pause, taking a breath, and then choosing our response or choosing what we want to align to or choosing, whatever is next for us, whatever we're guided or whatever resonates for us to do. In order to slow down and be able to tune into our breath, though, may take some training, because when we get stressed, when we get over busy, when we get on autopilot, then oftentimes, if you ever notice, the breath is probably shallow. Or how many times throughout the day do you notice that you're holding the breath? So just learning how to pause and connect to the breath throughout your day can be an amazing tool just to start to support that awareness, because it's the awareness that is the first step. So actually tip would be even setting a timer to go off every couple hours to remind you. And there's a lot of apps out there now and just that can support you with your breath too. And just tuning in. How is my breath? Am I breathing shallow? Am I breathing deep diaphragmatic breathing? Am I breathing shallow? Am I breathing at all? And am I breathing rapidly? Is it uncomfortable for me to breathe? Am I having a difficult time taking a breath? So when we start to really activate that mindful, conscious breath, that also activates our parasympathetic nervous system, which brings us into that calm. So it also soothes us and activates that calming element of our nervous system, which supports overall health, well-being, psychological and emotional well-being. But the real seat of our power that we want to kind of focus on is really, again, this pause, this breath, and this choice. So the choice, we can have awareness. We can be connected. And then it's our choice to choose. So because of free will, and because there's such an emphasis now on us maintaining our sovereignty, coming into our sovereignty. And sovereignty means that we are operating from a clear, grounded response that is of our own personal resonance. So why that's important is because if we're not honoring what our own personal resonance is, chances are, high chance is that we're actually operating from somebody else's, or we're operating from a collective thought form, or we're operating from somebody else's thoughts, agendas, their own beliefs, instead of our own personal internal resonance and guidance. And our internal resonance and guidance, just as a reminder, is that's what we're being guided to do to fulfill our own personal unique blueprint that we're here, that we've chosen to come in this lifetime, in this incarnation, to actually activate. That's our pathway of our own unique learning, growing, and healing. So when we can practice to just pause, slow down, pause, take a couple deep breaths, connect to the breath, then we can go back into our center, and from there really ask, what do I really want now to say? Why am I feeling the way am I feeling? How am I even feeling? And then what do I want to come back into alignment to? What do I want to come into alignment to in regards to how do I want to feel? Do I want to feel, am I feeling fear? And do I want to feel love? Do I feel anxious? Do I want to feel calm? So starting to bring that awareness, the foundation of that and the seed of that is our breath. So the breath brings us to a place where we can actually then choose what we want to choose. And our awareness gives us the ability, so back to the sovereignty, our awareness gives us the ability to choose. What are we choosing? What do we want to choose? So if I'm choosing with awareness, with thoughtfulness, mindfulness, I'm choosing how I want to respond. I'm choosing how I want to align to. I could be choosing, I think I need to just step back for a little bit because I can't get clear on what I'm feeling, or I can't get clear on how I want to respond. That's a choice, right? So when we're choosing, we can have all the consciousness, we can have incredible consciousness, and we still might not choose to be in a higher frequency of peace or of love. As an example, we might have awareness or have consciousness, but we're still, just really expressing or staying in anger or staying in frustration. There's nothing wrong if we're in anger or frustration. We want to move that energy, that we want to actually move the energy and then come back into the alignment so that we can then start to consciously choose. When we're choosing to choose, we're activating our conscious creator as well. And when we activate our conscious creator, then we are contributing and in our sovereignty to start to sculpt and create the life, our ideal life, the life that we want to create. What do we want to actually start to bring in? And so that brings us into that alignment to be able to do that consciously. And so when we're engaging in a conversation, or we're engaging in a pattern or a dynamic that we've always engaged in, then we can also pause, breathe, and then ask, do I want to continue to respond in the way that I always have? And we may choose to still respond because that might feel still in alignment at that time for us. And maybe it won't. Maybe we might come to the realization, this doesn't feel good for me anymore. Or I never walk away from this feeling calm or peaceful. I walk away from this feeling agitated or insecure or less than. And so how do I want to actually feel? And then playing with it, just kind of experiencing different responses so that we can get a sense, how is this feeling for me personally? And what's starting to happen in my relationships and in my environment? Am I starting to see more peace cultivating? Am I starting to see more ease? Am I starting to personally feel just more calm and more relaxed, more loving? So when we pause and then we breathe and then we choose to choose, then we are in our sovereignty. So we are in the seat of our power. And we, from that place, will start to really activate our highest path of fulfillment and our highest path of highest potential, and therefore come into, our highest expression of what we are capable of. And then we can really be radiant and shine our brilliance. So takeaway is, if it resonates, pause, breathe, and choose to choose. So what do you want to choose? What do you want to choose? And how does that feel? So wishing you an amazing day. Namaste.